Thanks so much to all my patrons. Join now to help support the channel and help pick the books that I review. Link in the description. And I am done. Okay, so I just got done listening to King of Duels. This is book 16 of The Wandering Inn by pirateaba, and I want to give you my unedited thoughts upon finishing this book, which was literally just right now. So, yeah, not a fan. I thought it was just okay, probably like 3 stars. Which is by far the worst Wandering Inn book that I've read. I think the worst that I ever gave a Wandering Inn book was 4 stars, which meant I liked it. So to go from liked it to is a big jump. And there's a lot of things that were very much worse here than any of the other books. And it's a pretty massive step back in my opinion. Not just in the book and the writing itself, but on this version of the book, this audiobook that I did, it's the first audiobook from a new narrator, and I felt like the audiobook narration was a massive step back as well, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And so let me start with my positives, and I'm not going to spend long there because I'm really positive about this series. And the positive things are things that I've said before, because there's nothing intimately specific about this book that I really loved, but other than I love this whole world. I love everything about this series, right? And so more of that is always a good thing. Even in these moments where I'm reading these storylines that aren't clicking for me, just being there, reading in a world that I enjoy so much and that gives me such a positive feeling. It's a really, I don't want to say this series is my comfort read, but in a lot of ways it is. I read so many different types of books that are very definitively not comfort reads. I just am always in kind of a relatively happy place when I read these. And so it's more of that, right? It's more of these characters that I know and love. It's more of this world that I know and love. And progressing the storylines and moving them towards their eventual conclusion is always a positive thing, right? But those negatives were even more glaring because of those things and because of all these positive things in the past. And a lot of these negative things just kind of caught up to it here, where the positives didn't really outweigh the negatives. And so let's start at the beginning here. The beginning parts of this book started off in a worrying way for me, because as soon as I had this moment where Erin invents chocolate and gets enamored with the fact that she somehow invented chocolate, that sucks, right? Because I know right then that I'm going to get hundreds of pages with Erin fascinated about the fact that she just invented chocolate. Now I get pirateaba saying, I can use this chocolate thing as a crutch to now spend a lot of time. It's honestly, it feels like we're on repeat. It feels like cheating as an author. When you say, I've got this fantasy world, and they don't know much about the modern day things that we have in our world. And so every now and then I'm just going to introduce this thing from our world into theirs, and then I just get to write how everybody would react to that. And it's so simple and easy and boring at this point. Look, I get it. I know how everyone's reactions are going to be to this chocolate thing. Everyone's going to love it. Everyone's going to be obsessed. Everyone else is going to try to copy it. Erin's going to be really excited. 𝗟𝗏's going to be super stoked to be the first person to eat it. I know all these these plot points to these things that are going to happen, especially food related. I read these chocolate chapters before, when Erin invented ice cream and pizza and hamburger. The list goes on and on, right? So that's just boring, and I hate it, and I don't want any more of it, right? The times when a modern world invention is brought over to the in world and it works are the things that it actually advances the plot. Things that let us see this world in a different way. The definitive one for me is this invention essentially of television, and the things that it opens up in this world, essentially giving us a live feed in these different moments that are going on, and bringing the interconnectivity in, something that's desperately been needed in this series. That thing worked, right? But just doing this random, throwing a baseball chapter in and having 100 pages about a baseball game, that's not what's needed here. That's just trying to lean on the cozy part of this series a little bit too much. Okay, so enough there. sex scenes is not a phrase that I thought I'd be saying in this series, because this series is so hard. It's been put so much effort into avoiding this, where it's only had one like sexish thing, and it had a chapter written into it called Mating Rituals, and it was early on in the series, and it's kind of like, I think it's known as, you can really easily skip it, and it's very different than the other chapters that you ever read, and it investigates some of these themes of dating and some sexual things in nature. But it's kind of like you can skip it, no problem. This one, it's like, I saw Mating Rituals 2 show up in the audiobook. I'm like, oh, I'll skip this one. But then the audiobook narrator goes, also, there's some major things that are going to happen in this, and if you skip it, you're going to miss out on them. So it's like right there, like, okay, I'm stuck now. But then we got like a lot of time divested into this sexual stuff. And it was like several chapters that got weaved into this, and like I was bored by it. I don't think pirateaba writes these scenes very well. There's not much depth to them. They feel clunky. They feel like if you wanted to write these scenes, we should have been building up to these moments, not just had them randomly happen and then we're going to randomly go away from them. We're never going to talk about them again. That's not how relationships work. I shouldn't have to explain this, but that's not how it works. And when you read that, and it's in pirateaba treats these like sexual moments and these relationship moments as if they're these one-off invention things that we just kind of talked about, it's so weird, right? Like that's not how relationships are. And then you get the weird thing where you have like the sexual connection between different like creatures, like different, like totally different animals, which is, it feels like ham-fisted, right? Like I'm going so far out of my way to show that we're non-judgmental, and like we're not doing any of these scenes. So to only have one, and then it's like these, like, humans can hook up too, right? Like this is a thing that can exist. We don't have to go so crazy. So anyways, it felt like awkward and weird and not needed in a series like this. And if the series wanted it, it should have been done in a different way. A couple more points to go over here before we wrap up. And one of them is the namesake of this book, The King of Duels. We got a lot of chapters here from the southern continent that followed Floss, and in this series of chapters, we got his interaction with the King of Duels. It's this character that is a duelist class and is like really only good at this one thing, and it's this kind of emotional, pretty relevant in world, the Wandering and speak for an arc, pretty quick, of probably a couple hundred pages or so, where we learn about this character. The drama hits a head where they are going to go to war with Floss's army, and they break this truce that they have, and it's kind of weird the way it happens, and it feels like very unethical, and like there should be repercussions for it. We don't really investigate that. It's weird and feels like an injustice has been done in this world, and we're just going to have to hand wave it, and then we move on, and I don't think we're going to get much more of this character, the King of Duels. It just felt like a weird couple hundred pages that we got out of Floss, where I don't feel like the story went anywhere, and I didn't connect with this character much. Like the 𝐬𝐵HIS Beasts, I liked those chapters. I thought they worked, but this one, yeah, not so much. And perhaps what was getting me a lot was that the Floss chapters were off. And why were they off? Because the narrator did a poor job at this. Let's talk about that a little bit. The narrator. We had for a long time, for books 1 through 15, we had 𝐿, which went from a very good narrator from the beginning to really as good as he gets. Dozens and dozens of incredible voices, playing with these different species of voices, like going up and down and sing-songy, and it's incredibly well done. It doesn't get better. And then to jump to an average audiobook narrator, to go from like the best to like average, is a huge jump. And so like this isn't a big criticism on Erin Bennett. She's good. She's average, or maybe even a little bit above average. But like, it's so hard to go backwards. And it's not me saying this by saying like it's different. It's worse in so many ways. I'll give an example. Floss is a character that is a kind of classic bad guy character. He tried to take over the world. He's coming back to do it again. We should hate this guy. He's a bad guy. But 𝐿 gives the voice to Floss as like upbeat, jovial, nothing gets him down. And it's just such a weird dynamic as you're learning about this character, because there's all these bad, evil things associated with war, but then he's always so happy and caring about his people. And you learn over time as you associate yourself, like you learn about this character more and feel them and learn about them, as you're like, man, this is perfectly well done. And the voice matches this character so well. And, you know, it's this wonderful yin and yang of this character, and you love them for so much. And it just adds this crazy depth to it that is wonderful. And then you get Erin Bennett that does it. And you take out this fun, jovial nature, and then you get this classic, not even classic, like over-the-top bad guy. If you can think of the most like absurdly bad guy voice you could think of, that's what Floss is now. And so all of that nuance is just gone. Now it's just a bad guy talking in a bad guy voice. And like, if it started like that, maybe it would work. But to go from this happy juxtaposition on this evil type character to just evil layered on evil, it sucks. And it's like hitting me over the head with this black and white nonsense. And it's almost like a joke. Like, how is it possible to do such a bad job at picking the voice for a character? Erin Bennett has depth. I've seen the depth in the audiobook narration. So this is just a choice. It's a bad choice. And, you know, I see this go on over and over on the choices that are made on the characters. And then, because like the skill is crazy good. The Antinium that is done by Erin is so incredible. It's the best voice that's done in audiobook narration for a fantasy book. It's this clicking, weird noise thing. It's crazy good. Erin Bennett nails it, clearly practiced it, clearly is just a master. And it got to the point where it's hard for me to identify the differences between Andrea Parsnow and Erin Bennett when this voice is happening. And so obviously, if you practice these voices a bit more, you're an incredible mimicker. Great job, Erin Bennett. So do more of that, right? It just felt so lazy and weird. And like, I don't understand why I feel like Vito Corleone and The Godfather, like, look what they did to my boy. They massacred my boy. Like, how could you do this to Floss? And so like, it got to the point where like, I don't like reading Floss anymore. It went from like Floss is like my ride or die. And now, like, I don't care anymore. And that sucks. So I think what I have to do is I have to just be done with the audiobooks. That sucks because, like, I read a lot of books. I'm always hunting for more audiobooks. Having these huge 1,500, 2,000-page books that I can rely on audiobook and I can deal with my other books in physical format is really nice. And so now to take the burden of these huge books and add it to my physical book catalog, that sucks. But I think I have to. I'm going to do one more, I think, with Erin Bennett and give it a shot, because Andrea Parsnow grew a lot as an audiobook narrator. Perhaps Erin Bennett will. Or, honestly, Erin, if you are watching this, and I'm not going to pretend that you are, because my channel is like nothing. I'm like a random reviewer and a random guy in his office that turned on and decided to like record one day. If you are watching this, no one's going to get mad at you for just changing the Floss voice. No one's going to get mad at you for like thinking about the major voices that you're doing and judging them compared to what the predecessor did, and knowing that like a good job is trying to mimic that voice. A good job is not trying to put a new spin on an old character. This isn't like Doctor Who, right? This is trying to copy as well as you can. And on things like Floss, where I know obviously that there's no copy attempt being made, please try. I'll appreciate it. It doesn't need to be great. Like Erin, obviously a copy attempt is being made. It is not the same thing. It took a while for me to get used to it. But by about halfway through this book, or even before that, I'm in, right? Erin Bennett is like Erin from The Wandering Inn. I associate that now. You've done it. It's close enough that my brain has clicked. Let that click happen for everybody else, please. I'm begging you. And I cannot be the only one saying this. I cannot possibly be the only one saying this. And perhaps there's other people out there being positive. I think what's happening, and I don't want to sound like cocky about this. I think what is happening in a series like this, where there's so many positive vibes and like everyone's so nice to each other and it's this nice community feeling, like nobody wants to be harsh. Nobody wants to have like this really hard, honest discussion about something when everybody kind of knows each other and it's different. This isn't this normal book community where it's like so disconnected. And so I get a feeling like, my guess is a lot of people are going to be like, she's doing good. It's not quite there, but I appreciate it. And I think what's happening underneath is a lot of people want to say these things, but they're not. Let me be their avatar and say these things on their behalf. Because I really do think that if and it's not crazy, the changes need to be made, but if some changes were made, and I'd be happy, and my guess is the community, if they were unleashed, they could like detail it pretty easily on like, here's the 3 or 4 or 5 voices that could make some tweaks to really change the listening experience. That'd be awesome, and I'd be back in. So I'm going to give it another go. Hopefully that's happening behind the scenes. If not, then I'm going to just go back to the book format so I don't lose this amazing series. I'll just be a little sad that I lost my audiobook version of this, but you know what? You can't have it all. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy reading to you. Thanks again to all my patrons, with a special shout out to my Ascendant tier and Librarian tier patrons, Amy, Alex P, Anna G, Brady K, Doust, Darren, Jerry, Jonathan, Nev's Book Channel, Ron Reich, Ryan L, Sydney Baker, Anna, Blair, Eric Cannon, Joe UK, Kat Mick, Ricky Iman, and Sky. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video, and if you want to watch some more content from my channel, click over here and I've got some good videos for you. Thanks so much.